If you're over 60, there's one simple habit you might think is helping your health, but could actually be putting your brain in danger while you sleep. No warning, no pain. Just one moment you're fine, and the next, your speech is slurred or your arm won't move. As a brain doctor, I've seen this far too often, and not because of smoking, bad diet, or lack of exercise. It's something far more subtle. Vitamins. Yes, really. Millions of older adults take daily supplements hoping to boost energy, protect bones, or stay sharp. But what if I told you that some of these very vitamins, especially when taken at the wrong time or in the wrong dose, could quietly increase your risk of stroke? Stay with me, because this could be the wake-up call that protects your brain. Let me tell you about Mr. Walter, a 74-year-old retired Navy veteran, disciplined, strong, and determined to stay healthy in his golden years. Every morning, like clockwork, he lined up his supplements, a multivitamin, a calcium tablet, and a high-dose vitamin D capsule, 10,000 IU to be exact. He didn't take these recklessly. He genuinely believed he was doing everything right. After all, isn't vitamin D good for your bones, mood, and immune system? But one morning, Walter's wife found him confused and struggling to speak. His right arm hung limply by his side. He hadn't fallen. There was no injury, but something was deeply wrong. At the hospital, the diagnosis was clear. He'd suffered a stroke during the night. His blood tests revealed dangerously high calcium levels. His arteries were unusually stiff for his age. His blood pressure was fluctuating wildly. The culprit wasn't his heart, his diet, or even his genetics. It was vitamin D, or more accurately, vitamin D toxicity. You see, while vitamin D is essential for many functions, bone strength, immune regulation, even mood balance, too much of it, especially in supplement form, can quietly tip the body into danger. When taken in high doses, vitamin D increases calcium absorption in the intestines. That might sound like a good thing, but when your blood becomes saturated with calcium and your body can't process it fast enough, the excess calcium begins depositing in the arteries. This calcification makes them stiff and narrow, dramatically increasing the risk of clots and blockages. Now, combine that with age-related arterial stiffness, poor sleep, and even mild dehydration, and you have what we call the perfect storm for a stroke, especially in the early morning hours when blood pressure tends to spike naturally. And the worst part, there are usually no warning signs. You go to bed feeling normal, and wake up in a different body. What makes this even more alarming is how easily accessible these high-dose supplements are. In the US, over-the-counter bottles of vitamin D routinely contain 5,000 or 10,000 IU per capsule, far beyond what most older adults need. People assume more is better. But for seniors who are not vitamin D deficient, even 2,000 IU daily may be unnecessary and possibly harmful. So, what's the solution? First, know your numbers. Don't take vitamin D blindly. Ask your doctor for a blood test to check your 25 OHD level. That simple test can tell you whether you truly need supplementation, and if so, how much. Second, timing matters. Vitamin D should be taken in the morning, not at night. Why? Because high calcium levels during nighttime, when the body naturally downregulates certain systems, may increase the risk of vascular complications while you sleep. Third, don't combine vitamin D with calcium or heart medications without medical guidance. These combinations can amplify the risk of hypercalcemia or drug interactions that strain your cardiovascular system. And finally, remember, vitamin D is fat-soluble. That means your body stores it in your liver, tissues, even your brain. It doesn't flush out like vitamin C. So even if you stop taking it, the effects can linger for weeks or months. Walter survived, but his recovery has been slow. He now takes a lower dose only when needed and under close supervision. His story is a reminder that even good habits, when misinformed, can quietly hurt us. So, check your bottle. How many IU are you taking each day, and is your brain paying the price? If that surprised you, wait till you hear this next one. Let me introduce you to Evelyn Brooks, an 81-year-old retired librarian from Ohio. She was witty, sharp, and independent. She loved reading, volunteering at the local library, and keeping her mind active. Evelyn had a minor heart valve issue and was prescribed warfarin, a common blood thinner, which she took diligently under her doctor's supervision. Her blood pressure was stable. Her labs looked good. Everything was under control, or so it seemed. One afternoon, while browsing through a health magazine, Evelyn came across an ad for a natural memory and heart support supplement. It contained vitamin E 800 IU per capsule. The claims were appealing: improved circulation, better memory, youthful skin. Thinking it was a harmless boost, she added it to her daily routine without asking her doctor. 3 weeks later, Evelyn was rushed to the ER. She'd complained of a terrible headache, nausea, and sudden confusion. A brain scan revealed a hemorrhagic stroke bleeding inside the brain. Not due to high blood pressure, not from a fall, but from blood that had become too thin to clot properly. The combination of warfarin and high-dose vitamin E had quietly tipped the balance. This is something many older adults don't realize. Vitamin E, especially in high doses, acts as a natural anticoagulant. That means it interferes with the blood's ability to clot. On its own, that might not be a problem. But when combined with medications like warfarin, aspirin, or Plavix, all of which are commonly prescribed for seniors with heart conditions, the result can be dangerous. Your blood becomes too thin, and even a tiny rupture in a vessel can lead to major bleeding, especially in the brain. And here's the alarming part. The recommended daily intake of vitamin E for older adults is just 15 mg, or about 22 IU. But most over-the-counter supplements contain 200, 400, or even 1,000 IU per capsule, often with no clear warnings. Many people take these for years, believing they're helping their heart, when in fact, they may be slowly increasing their RSK of a brain bleed. Evelyn survived, but the damage was real. She now walks with a cane. Her memory isn't what it used to be. And the worst part? It was all avoidable. "I thought I was doing something good for myself," she told me through tears. "I didn't know I was doing harm." So here's what you need to know. If you are on any blood-thinning medications, aspirin, Plavix, warfarin, do not take vitamin E supplements without your doctor's explicit guidance. And always check your labels. If you're unsure, bring the bottle to your next appointment. Remember, natural doesn't always mean safe. And when it comes to your brain, bleeding is far more dangerous than clotting. Be informed. Be careful. Your brain is worth protecting. Type D if you're currently taking vitamin D, or B6 if this sounds familiar. Let me introduce you to Harold Jenkins, a 76-year-old retired truck driver from Kansas. He spent decades behind the wheel, traveling highways, raising a family, and staying sharp. After retirement, Harold wanted to take care of his brain and nerves, so he turned to supplements. A friend recommended a nerve and brain support formula from the pharmacy. The label promised improved circulation, sharper memory, and more energy. Sounded harmless, even helpful. But after about a year, Harold started feeling numbness in his feet. His hands began tingling. At first, he blamed it on aging or maybe arthritis. But then came the falls. Once in the bathroom, another on the porch. The third time, he hit his head. When he came to my office, we did a full review. His blood pressure, sugar, and imaging were normal. But his supplement? That was the problem. Each tablet contained 100 milligrams of vitamin B6, and he was taking 2 tablets a day. That's 200 milligrams daily, more than 10 times the recommended safe limit for older adults. Here's the part most people don't know. Vitamin B6, when taken in excess, can actually damage your nerves, not help them, harm them. Unlike some vitamins that flush out easily, B6 builds up in the body over time, and in high amounts, it can strip the protective sheath that surrounds your nerves like peeling insulation off a wire. The result? Numbness, tingling, poor coordination, and in severe cases, muscle weakness and cognitive issues. The damage starts slowly and silently. Many people mistake it for neuropathy, early dementia, or just getting old. But in reality, it's B6 toxicity, a preventable man-made condition caused by good intentions and poor information. The worst part? This damage can become permanent if not caught in time. Harold was lucky. We caught it early, stopped the supplement, and his symptoms stopped progressing. But he still uses a cane and hasn't regained his full balance. He told me, "I thought I was helping my brain. I didn't know I was poisoning it." So how much B6 do you really need? For most adults over 60, the answer is surprisingly small, only 2 to 10 milligrams per day, which you already get through a balanced diet. Whole grains, poultry, bananas, spinach. There is no benefit to taking 50, 100, or 200 milligrams daily, unless specifically prescribed, and there's real risk if you do. Here's what you can do. Check your supplement labels. Look for pyridoxine HCl, that's B6, and write down the dose. Add up the total if you take multiple products, multivitamins, energy drinks, brain formulas. Talk to your doctor if you've been taking more than 10 milligrams daily for more than a few weeks. And remember, your nerves don't have backup. Once they're damaged, healing is slow and sometimes impossible. Protect them by staying informed. Like Harold, you might be trying to do the right thing. But when it comes to vitamins, more isn't always better. Sometimes, less is safer. If that surprised you, wait till you hear this next one. Let me tell you about Ms. Dorothy Simmons, a 79-year-old retired piano teacher from Oregon. She lived a peaceful life surrounded by music, teaching children from her cozy living room, and priding herself on staying independent. Like many older adults, she believed in taking care of herself from the inside out. For years, she took a daily supplement for eye and skin health, one that contained 10,000 IU of vitamin A, a dose she thought was safe, even beneficial. But over time, things began to change. First came the headaches, then the blurred vision. A few weeks later, she started feeling dizzy and had trouble walking in a straight line. Her family feared the worst, a stroke or perhaps early dementia. But when we ran her tests, the results were surprising. There was no clot, no bleeding, no sign of a classic stroke. Instead, she had elevated intracranial pressure, meaning there was too much fluid pressure inside her skull. The diagnosis: vitamin A toxicity. What most people don't realize is that vitamin A, while essential in small amounts, can be dangerous when taken in excess, especially over long periods. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, like C or B, that your body flushes out regularly, vitamin A is fat-soluble. That means it's stored in your liver, tissues, and even your brain, building up gradually over time. As we age, our liver's ability to process and eliminate excess substances slows down. So if you're taking more vitamin A than you need, particularly from supplements, your body may start accumulating it silently, without obvious symptoms. Until one day, that quiet buildup turns into something serious. In Dorothy's case, years of daily high-dose supplementation led to a condition called pseudotumor cerebri, or false brain tumor. It's not a real tumor, but the symptoms can mimic one: severe headaches, double vision, nausea, balance issues, even slurred speech. These symptoms are often misdiagnosed as stroke, vertigo, or early-stage Alzheimer's. The safe upper limit for vitamin A for older adults is around 2,500 to 3,000 IU per day, and that's only if there's a medical reason to supplement. But many skin, eye, and anti-aging supplements contain 5,000 to 10,000 IU per dose, often with no clear warnings. And if you're already getting vitamin A from your diet, like from eggs, liver, dairy, or fortified cereals, those supplements may be unnecessary and harmful. So what's the solution? First, check your labels, especially if you take a multivitamin, an eye supplement, or anything labeled anti-aging. Second, know the source. Preformed vitamin A, like retinol palmitate or retinol, builds up faster than plant-based forms like beta-carotene. Third, talk to your doctor before continuing any high-dose supplement, particularly if you've been taking it for months or years. Dorothy is recovering now, but her vision isn't quite the same. She told me, "I thought I was doing something good for my health. I never imagined it could affect my brain." And that's the truth about vitamin A. A little goes a long way, but too much for too long can quietly pressure your brain in ways you'd never expect. Meet Mr. Frank Miller, an 82-year-old retired postman from Florida. For years, Frank had prided himself on staying active and heart-conscious. When he read about niacin, vitamin B3, being praised as a natural way to lower cholesterol and support circulation, he didn't hesitate. He picked up a bottle at his local pharmacy, 1,000 milliliters per capsule, and took it twice a day. That's 2,000 milliliters daily. At first, he experienced what many others do, a warm flush across his face, a pounding feeling in his chest. He assumed it was normal. But then came the dizziness, the brief confusion. One morning, his speech slurred for about 2 minutes, then returned to normal. His family brushed it off as stress or dehydration. But when he came to see me, it was clear. Frank had suffered a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke. The hidden trigger? Niacin. Here's what many older adults don't know. Niacin in high doses causes your blood vessels to expand quickly and then constrict again. This yo-yo effect on the vascular system can cause sudden blood pressure spikes, irregular heart rhythms, and reduced blood flow to the brain. In the short term, you may feel flushed or lightheaded, but over time, this cycle stresses your cardiovascular system, increasing the risk of stroke, atrial fibrillation, or even dangerous swings in blood sugar. And yet, millions of seniors take high-dose niacin every day, often without knowing it. It's in cholesterol-lowering supplements, flush-free formulas, energy drinks, and even multivitamins. Labels often advertise it as heart-healthy, but they rarely warn that doses over 50 milligrams per day should only be taken under strict medical supervision. As we age, our body becomes more sensitive to these kinds of fluctuations. The heart, brain, and vascular system can't adapt as quickly as they used to. That's why personalized guidance, not guesswork, is crucial. One of the most important pieces of advice for elderly individuals looking to support heart health is this: don't assume that natural means safe. Niacin is still prescribed in certain cases, but under careful monitoring. For most older adults, the risks of high-dose niacin outweigh the benefits. And what's worse, many seniors combine niacin with blood pressure medication or diabetes drugs, not realizing that the combination can intensify side effects or trigger unpredictable reactions. So what should you do? Check your labels carefully. If your supplement contains more than 50 milligrams of niacin, talk to your doctor before continuing. Avoid combining niacin with alcohol, blood pressure meds, or statins unless supervised. Focus on real food sources of B3 such as turkey, chicken, brown rice, and peanuts, which provide safer, balanced doses without the roller coaster effect. Mr. Frank is recovering well now. He's back to walking with his wife in the mornings and has cut back on unnecessary supplements. His story is a reminder that when it comes to supplements, especially for seniors, informed caution is the best medicine. The bottom line? If you're over 60 and focused on heart or brain health, take this as a wake-up call. And remember, good health isn't built on high doses, but on the right advice for elderly people, rooted in science, balance, and awareness. So now you've seen the hidden risks behind 5 common vitamins: D, E, B6, A, and niacin, and how something meant to help can quietly harm if taken the wrong way. The truth is, your body at 60, 70, or 80 processes supplements very differently than it did decades ago. That's why awareness, not assumptions, is your greatest protection. You don't need to fear vitamins, but you do need to respect them. Always read the labels, talk to your doctor, and listen to your body when it whispers. And remember, your best medicine often isn't in a pill, it's in real food, good sleep, and informed decisions. If even one part of this message made you pause, share it with someone you love. Because the more we understand, the better we can protect ourselves and each other. You're not too old, you're not too late. You're just getting the facts finally.